There we go. Now we're recording. Very good. So we are starting with MREA pages 205 today, and we're continuing the section of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent organizational model. So we're about to wrap that up and go into our next section in the book. And we started on page 205. The last time we went over the 7 recruiting sources. So as you are adding leverage or people to your business, there are different places where you can find talent as you're looking to add talented people to help you get to that next level. And so that's covered on pages 203, but we're going to go into the 9 major compensation options. So as Gary has done this research with people that are doing business at a high level, there's going to be several options for you to compensate talent in your world. And more than likely, you're going to use several of those, 1 or 2 of those options. Let me let Polani on. So you're going to have a couple of those to consider. Good morning, Polani. We got you on here. You're my first pop on so far. So we're going ahead and diving in. So these are the most common and recommended compensation philosophies. And I highlighted philosophies and underlined it in the book for these fundamentals of each of these options as you get started. So one of the quotes at the bottom of page 205 says, the key to keeping great people is to pay them well and be flexible in their lives. Those are the 2 areas, if you're really wanting to keep someone wonderful in your world, that they'll stay with you. Otherwise, if you don't have those components, you're going to have a churn in your business of people leaving your organization and your team as you get started. So when I have folks coming, individuals asking me about teams, they're looking for community, they're looking for guidance, they're looking for training because they know that you have really got a business where they can learn and thrive, and they're looking for that bigger picture and that vision that you're casting. So in order to attract the people that you want to be in business with, you have to make sure that you are flexible and you pay them well. So we're not going to spend a lot of time in all of these 7, but we're going to just briefly go through them here. So the 9 major compensation options, of course, number 1 is salary on the list, and it'll be a primary source for compensation for people that work within your middle office or your admin, back office employees. Those they recommend being competitive with your local market. And of course, this book was written a while back. So I'm going to ask Polani is there in the picture. Maybe some of you can holler out on Facebook Live. Competitive in there. It says your staff positions will be filled between $25,000 and $50,000 a year, depending on what their responsibilities are and what their qualifications are. So I know from talking to some of our team owners in the business here and in some other areas of KW, that there are a couple of different ways people find talent when it says that you'll pay them according to their qualifications and their responsibilities. And I have heard several say that they use in the interview process the KPA, the Keller personality assessment. That product is designed for you to get to know someone, kind of find out what their natural styles are, where they naturally shine, what's their natural part that they how they're going to operate, how they think, and their personality. The DISC, D-I-S-C, is also another way that I know a lot of business owners will layer the DISC along with the KPA when they're deciding if they're going to be in business with someone, as well as maybe a skills test to see if they, if they've got the qualifications that you need to fill the role that you're looking for, whatever that might be. So there are a lot of ways to do that interview process and find out that information. And if you are looking to hire that admin, then reach out to Kathy Love at our office in our Market Center Administrator role. Here, she's hired a lot of people. She's done a lot of Indeed ads. She's done so many of those things, and she has a system. She'd be glad to share it with you on what she looks for and how she does that. All right, so remember that when you use a salary, then you may be creative with some bonuses and some profit sharing. I know they use the word profit sharing throughout this section, and that might be a surprise to some of you. The office has profit share with the agents for helping to grow the company and be influential out there in the market and bringing us talent. But you can also use that as a piece in your business as you're hiring someone to get you to that next level. And, you'll have to have someone to hold out taxes and Social Security if you operated on a salary this way. Now, disclaimer, I am not a CPA, I am not a bookkeeper or accountant. So you will need to save those questions for those people who have that skill in this section. So the second way is commissions. Obviously, you're going to split commissions in traditional method, especially on your sales force that you're working with. And I've highlighted, I know we've mentioned this before, a buyer agent commission split should be 50-50. All right, and you need to adjust them. If you need to adjust them, here may be some options, because a couple of times in this section, they're saying, think about what you're doing before you do it, because it really stinks to go backwards. So when you have that talented person and you're like, oh, I did that on the front end, and now I'm not profitable and I've got to do something, you're going to run people away if you take away what you've given them. So think about it first and be in a step process to do that. So here are some reasons why you might do different than 50-50 for if you're the rainmaker of this business. Different commission splits for company generated leads versus individual generated leads. So an example of that would be, I'm on Polani's team and she's working a generation system over here and she gives me a lead, versus it's my sphere, it's my cousin, and they want to list their house and I'm bringing it into Polani's business. There might be a little differentiator in that. And of course you would want to have that in a team agreement. You would want to have that in writing, right? I always call team agreements prenuptials. This is how we're going together. This is how we break up. So the other thing you might consider, if you wanted to give them a little extra because they're talented and they're really helping you get to where you want to be, is graduating the commission split based on what the company earns and what that looks like. And then improving the commission split based on specific goals being met. So there's some measurable accountability for the results that you would like to see coming from that person. So study it carefully, because talent can exceed expectations and you want to make sure you have room to grow with them and not take things away. You never want to hurt that. So I'm going to pause there and see, because I've got Adrienne Bailey joining me as well this morning. Good morning, Adrienne. So what are you seeing out there? What did you think about the section so far and the 9 major compensation options? Any comments? Okay.
I'll say some comments. So
Well,
I kind of think you have to figure out for you and what you want to do with your business, because you may use potentially all 9, depending.
You could blend that as you get started. I think the main theme that I see in this is be careful and be thoughtful about it, and don't just start something and go and then regret it later. I think it's that 20-lane highway build as you're scaling your business. I think there could be a blend for you to use. Absolutely, Polani. I agree with that. There's another thing. Number 3 is pay expenses. That might be a perk that you give someone. And, when you're salaried, pay all the work related expenses, but when commissioned, pay some base expenses at the most. And, you should improve expenses in advance and be very clear on what they are and that's that prenup agreement up front as well, and what you're not going to pay. So there's no misunderstanding between the person coming in to work with you if they are commission based on what you're paying and what they're paying when you get started. And so some of those things could be, depending on if how you want to work your debt. If you've got an office in the office and you're paying rent, if you're covering their expense of having a desk, or maybe you're covering a super key charge, or paying for their board dues, whatever that style is, you can figure out what that perk is for them. And of course, bonuses are an option as well. This is in this section, it's saying, you can do that in multiple ways, quarterly, or monthly, but they recommend annually doing that. And that's just because if you're working to track what your profit is. You want to make sure you're profitable. And so at the end of the year, you're going to be able to hash that out with all the numbers. And you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot by paying out bonuses when you're not tracking to be profitable. And that makes sense, right? And then, of course, it's the criteria can be around that annual goals, helping the company reach its production goal and financial goals. And they should be based on something specific, a quantifiable goal, the bonus should. And then it's got, it could be a preset amount, or it could be a percentage of their salary. And then the profit sharing piece of that gets them to buy into your profitability on number 5. So there's a lot of math equations over here. I mean, everything you need to know, that the skeleton is in this book, right? For how to compensate people in your business. So there's a formula for profit sharing in your business as well. And it says there, it's magical if they're focused on your net profits, and you win, they win, win-win or no deal, right? And you got to police, that would help them police themselves on spending. So it's no different than our office. Keller Williams operates like a mega agent. So you guys can model that. I didn't know if you realized that. Like, we've got profit sharing for the agents. Gary Keller thought that was a great thing to implement for us. And as a result, the staff here, like, I can't just say, I'm really tired of my stand-up desk, I want something new, and go get that. There has to be a checks and balances. And it also, when it affects our bottom line, it affects the profit share of the agents. So that's where the blending of, our accountability for the budget and the agent leadership council blessing the budget and how much we spend. We have to get budget variances if there's a certain amount that's over what we've turned into the region. So there's that accountability for that piece. And you can emulate that in a business in a smaller scale for you guys. And I think the main theme is compensate, but don't overcompensate to where it hurts you, because you are in business to make a profit, and you have to think of it that way. I had a conversation recently with someone who was trying to scale really, really fast, and they really didn't have models and systems and things set up to scale fast what their vision was, and they wanted to give all the money away to buyer's agents. And that's just it's not a profitable business to do that way, unless you can really get really big and have the value proposition. And in it still, it's going to be, am I profitable enough am I overpaying? Am I just grabbing bodies to do that? So there is some study that goes into it, and not setting yourself up incorrectly. And then the number 6 retirement plan, and then 7 insurance benefits are something similar to where you may want to hire a company that has a bigger group that they can get some really great rates for you if you're thinking about doing that, to manage something like this in terms of bonuses being tied to retirement or tied to insurance. And it says to start with maybe a non-matching 401k and have, they said, a PEO, and that is a professional employer organization, handle those things for you so you don't have to. And they can also take care of payroll and human resources for you. And then vacation and sick leave, those are also benefits that are non-monetary. So, being flexible with when someone needs some time off. And I've seen this in the corporate world as well. I've hired this amazing person, their talent. I am so patting myself on the back for attracting them. And they've scheduled a vacation, and they've just been with me 2 months, a month. They just started, and they need to go to Disney with their family because they'd already booked it. Well, of course, I'm going to maybe go away from what policy or operations manual says to compensate that, because you have to be flexible, especially when looking for someone that's talent, and offering that type of thing for the folks in your world that are doing the admin. Maybe you've hired that executive administrative assistant that's a rock star that's going to be able to manage a lot of things for you. You would want to give some of that. And I remember, this is the Millionaire Real Estate Agent organizational model section, right? This is someone that's there. They've done $1 million in GCI, and they've got people in their world. This is the operations manual for that. This isn't, I just got started and I'm not there yet, but it's your 20-lane highway roadmap for when you do, you'll already be thinking about it. And I appreciate that about this book on what that looks like. And then equity opportunities is also not about your sales business, but it's about maybe ownership opportunities with other companies that you might be involved with. And they mentioned a couple of examples like mortgage and title. And so those could be opportunities that you could attract someone with some investorship. And they have to really earn that, right? That should be someone that has a really great track record, that's been with you, that you know is loyal, and they're a high performer. That's not for everyone. So in summing up compensation, there is on page 2013, there's figure 49. And there are 3 distinct areas where you have a business team, and each will demand a different kind of compensation. So you can see some examples here of what you might put together. Like you said, Palani, you might have 1, 2, or 3 of those that you select that builds that compensation package for someone you're attracting to work with you in your business. And the idea is that you are always looking for talent. So you are recruiting people, and you are trying to retain them with your training and your consulting when they're in your organization. Then that helps you keep them, but you're always top grading. You are always on the hunt. He mentions in here that every time that they are out and about with someone else, that there is maybe in their sphere or some people that are in different industries. It says, hey, I've always decided if you ever decide to part ways with ABC company, you let me know, right? Because I would always make room for you in my company. If I knew you were available, I would make space for you. And then you have those conversations, you never know, right? It's just like when you're looking for buyers and sellers, you always are going to put that seed out for people. I'm the person that likes talent. I'm the person that wants buyers and sellers. So using the 4 fundamental models are how high achieving real estate agents employ in their business. And first, look at a high level, look at them for general understanding of the guiding principles. This is just because when we started this, there's the economic, there's the lead gen, there's the budget, there's the organizational model. And then we went through them, and there was a little repetition of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent economic model and budget and all of that. And it's just saying we are looking at the high level look of all 4 of the models to use. And then the MREA models are just specific goals when you get to that next level. So it gives you those issues that you may have as you've grown. It still says, follow the model. You have to earn your right to the creativity part. Remember our triangle model where models and then creativity was the point of the triangle. So many people want to be creative, especially in this hiring process. Follow the model first and add creativity later. That will help you not have an I overcompensated, now I've got an issue. So follow the models first. And there are so many things on page 2014 and 2015 that just goes through this entire section. From earning $1 million is the step to netting $1 million. Begin with the end in mind. Adopt the goals and models to net $1 million. A team is going to deliver consistently and predictably higher level of fiduciary service. Now, some of you may argue with me on that one, that are out doing business. The goal is for that to happen. Why do you think that wouldn't happen? The statement is a team of highly trained specialists delivers a consistently and predictably higher level of fiduciary service. Any comments around that? Why do you think they wouldn't? Y'all are being quiet this morning.
I would think if they're a very successful team that they are doing that. And perhaps maybe why they wouldn't be is maybe their processes aren't set up to give them that ability to do that high level of service.
I think that's a great statement, Polani, because, you know, at any given time, we're going to have uh-ohs in business, right? Whether you're an individual agent or a team of people working together. I think when we find out we've dropped the ball is the time to say, okay, there's a hole and a gap in our world somewhere. We've got to fix that so that doesn't happen again. I think the statement highly trained specialist is where when you're running your business at the highest level, then you have to put those systems in place first. And sometimes in sales, we want to go, 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 and we don't want to stop for that, because that feels slow and it feels like we're not getting momentum. And in fact, it's going to be the best thing that you can do in building that 20-lane highway. And as a business owner, when you add people to your world, you're responsible for making the world functioning well enough for everyone to work well together. So you're going to have a minute to have those systems, but also to have that training component. Let's make sure everyone's highly trained. And so when we drop the ball, we have more communication about what happened this week. How can we be better? So when you operate it that way, you are going to deliver the highest level of service. And I think that's, as you get started, just knowing that you have to have those pieces in place to kick that is key. All right, so then it goes back through the Millionaire Real Estate Agent economic model for GCI, commission, income and revenue, cost of sale, and operating expenses, as well as that your model tracks your prospecting and marketing activities necessary to generate the appropriate number of leads and appointments in that lead gen model. So your economic model is going to, your average sales price is going to determine the number of units that you need. And then your conversion rate determines the number of appointments you need. So those are tracking areas for us. And then the budget model is, like we said, like Dave Ramsey, every dollar matters. It has to have an account, keeping up with that and watching profitability and P&L. And then the organizational model helps you to understand the hiring processes and what your responsibilities are to the organization and how you're operating it. So you guys, the next section that we're going to talk about next week, we're going to move into netting $1 million. And that is pages 217 through 227. And this section helps you when you are a team at this level. It's gonna answer the questions about contact management and database. What does that need to look like? Foundational models, lead generation and conversion, mindset, because I'm sure there's some mindset things to overcome as you move into earning $1 million and netting $1 million, and your time management is very key. So it's going to address those pieces. You guys, look how far we've come. This is all we have left. We have done such a phenomenal job, and I wanted to give you guys gratitude for staying in and watching and communicating and working in this book. It's blessed me. It's made me better. And I think that's what happens when you instruct or you teach something, you get better at it. And so I appreciate you allowing me to spend this time with you and do this with you. Is there any comments as we roll out this section, moving into net $1 million, that you would like to share, or any ahas about going through the process of the MREA book? Oh, Julie's on here with us. Julie Barnett. Hey, Julie, good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
So sorry.
That's okay. I saw all it says is a J on my screen. So then I hovered over it and saw it was you. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
I appreciate you guys. And we're gonna end early today, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Listen, this week our team meeting, we are going to have all the nuggets from family reunion. It's going to be really good. So don't forget, look at your calendar and make sure that you have time on your calendar and on Thursday. And today we're also having a Jason Abrams live stream watch party on the Best of Family Reunion. And that's here in the office from 10:30 to 11:30. I hope you come and we'll see you soon. Have a great Monday.